Welcome, my friends, to another day. I'll tell you this. So for the last, what is today? 625. Let's say for the last 625 weekday mornings, now give or take because of trips, etc., etc., but 625 weekday mornings, I've come downstairs to my office, basement, and and it surprises me how still to this day, after 625 episodes, I still forget stuff. And then I got to sprint back upstairs, and then I got to come back downstairs. And yeah, I don't know what I'm saying about that other than that it happens. It's also a turning of the seasons. So if you go back, way back through AMX from the beginning, 625 days ago, you'll see an evolution of me. Facial hair on top of my head, probably even some weight. I'm aging. You know, I age every day. So it'll be neat. Here's someone's task. Sometime in the future, a task, a daily watcher. If you will, in 5-10 years, have been a daily watcher every day, make one of those 1 seconds of pop, 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 pop for the duration so we can see how I age. Quick time. Okay, so we're reading The Boys in the Boat. I have some exciting, fun news for today's show, and I'm gonna get right into it. And I'm not gonna. I just keep talking. Shut up, Charlie. Shut up. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is the Spaniard first and foremost. So this is AMXbooks 625, studying the book, The Boys in the Boat. Tremendous book. Going to get to that in a second. A few quick notes. First and foremost, today's November 30th. Today's my brother's 41st birthday. Happy birthday, Ben. If you're on social media, folks, give old N01 Joes, N01 Joes, a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ben. 41. Whoop, whoop. Secondly, I had a listener, Chad, thank you very much, message me and say, hey, you know that Brian McKenzie's wife, the author of Unplugged, the last book I read, is a gold medalist in rowing. And I said, yes, I did know that. I forgot. He drew that connection for me. I reached out to Erin yesterday. She said, I would absolutely love to be on the show. So she's going to be on the show as well once we finish the book, The Boys in the Boat. Very excited about that. And can you believe it? We're up to 3. Count them, 3. Contributors on Patreon. We have the Dreadster. Can you believe it, Dread? You do too much already. We have Dread. We have Ben Coate. Ben, who is part of AM Extended, who's been a longtime listener, supporter. Thank you, Dread. Thank you. Thank you, Dread. Thank you, Ben. And for everyone else, patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard. The links are in the show notes everywhere. So I'm going to start out talking about something serious today. And I'm going to start talking about a little bit about history and Nazi propaganda. So I come from a small town in central Pennsylvania, pretty rural town. I grew up, I traveled the world, and little by little, I became more aware of the world, different perspectives, history. You know, I like to read books that teach me about important pieces of history that I deem important that a human should know, such as the history of the Native Americans of the United States. Remember when I read Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee? Reading Man's Search for Meaning, which I'm going to suggest that you read, falls in line with what we're talking about now. It's interesting to read The Boys in the Boat because, as I said yesterday, there's several storylines. One of those storylines is World War II and Hitler and the rise of Hitler. So Hitler's reasoning for hosting the games, the 1936 Olympic Games, was this. It was so interesting. It is so interesting you hear the word propaganda, Nazi propaganda, but as a young kid in history in college, history didn't appeal to me. Right? But now as an older guy, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is fundamental knowledge I should know as a human. So the reasoning for hosting the games, Hitler's reasoning was this, quote, it would offer the Nazis a singular opportunity to portray Germany to the world as a civilized and modern state, a friendly but powerful nation that the larger world would do well to recognize and respect. This is a piece of history that I think humans should know. This provides insight into before. So what we're reading now is, you know, on the other side of anything, right? A war, a professional athlete, anything having a kid, whatever. It's obvious. It's right there staring you in the face. But this book does such a great job of painting the picture as it was happening. In Americans' almost laissez-faire attitude at its very beginning before it transferred over to the United States. It's absolutely fascinating. Also tying in history nuggets with Harley Davidson, Henry Ford, Seabiscuit, Joe Louis, losing to Max Schmeling and then beating Max Schmeling. It's fascinating, captivating history that's composed within this book, The Boys in the Boat. Moving on next to Joe Rance. Joe Rance is our main character, who is an eventual gold medalist in adversity. So let's talk about Joe Rance's early adversity and the character that resulted from it. You know, this idea of passion and adversity, I talked about being interconnected in the last couple of days on AMX, but also the idea of adversity and character. So Joe Rance hit a point in his life where he made a decision. He made a decision that I will not be the recipient of life. I will dictate what's going to happen to me in life. I will control what's going to happen to me in life. Think back to the E plus R plus O, event plus response equals outcome, the taking 100% responsibility for your life, both of those success principles, thinking extreme ownership. So at a young age, Joe Rance's youth was, quote, a kaleidoscope of broken images. At 4 years old, his mother passed away. He was sent east to live with his aunt. He was packed up and sent back to live with his brother. Then his father went up north. Then he moved in with his father and his stepmother. Then his father and his stepmother basically told him to get out of here, gave the father an ultimatum. So Joe went back and forth. At one point, his wife said to him, quote, it gave him an ultimatum. Either it's me or your son, Harry. Joe is getting out of here or I'm getting out of here, one of these two. And it said about his father, Harry, quote, he could not abide the thought of losing a second wife. He went back upstairs and told his son he would have to move out of the house. Joe was 10. So at a young age, all of this, from 4 years old to 10 years old, he has these feelings of rejection and these feelings of loneliness and these feelings of isolations. But he also hit a point where he realized at a young age, I've got to do this. That's taking 100% responsibility for his life. Imagine where Joe Rance's life could have gone had he made another decision. Had he made the this is too difficult on me, I can't take it, and found outlets, negative outlets, on which to take his life. It would be a completely different story. I wouldn't be reading this book. I wouldn't be conveying the gold that is in this book because it never would have happened. Joe Rance had to take that upon himself to make it happen. And, you know, I want to segue that. I'm talking about adversity and character. This book does a great job, and I cannot wait to talk to Aaron about rowing specifically. But this book does a great job of spelling out the sport. I don't know much about rowing. I'm guessing that the majority of people don't know much about the specifics, the details, the intricacies of rowing. And in the book, it does a tremendous job painting this picture. Physiologists say that the 2,000-meter race, which is the Olympic distance, 2,000-meter race takes the same toll as two basketball games being played back-to-back, but all packed within 6 minutes, right? So two basketball games, and truthfully, I don't even know how long a basketball game is. Is it 48, 60 minutes, whatever it is. I pay attention to better sports. But whatever it is, a 2,000-meter race, 1 6-minute race is the equivalent of two back-to-back basketball games. There's a fundamental role in rowing. I love this. I will talk about it in this week's AMX Weekly. Quote, pain is part and parcel of the deal. It's not a question of whether you will hurt or of how much. It's a question of what you will do and how well you will do it while pain has her wanton way with you. It's not a question. It's part and parcel. It's not a question. Pain will happen. It's not a question of if. It's a question of what will you do when pain is happening to you. I can't help but think pain. I can't help but think Clubber Lamb. I can't help but think this is life. Right? This is life. Pain, it's coming. What will you do with it? This has been AMX Books 625. Appreciate every ounce of support you give. You can support the show for as little as $1 a month. I mentioned Dredd. I mentioned Ben Coate. I mentioned Larry yesterday. It's building, my friends. Patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard. See ya. Can it just go on all day? Can it just go on? Here's what I want. I'll tell you what I, voice crack. I'll tell you what I want. What my dream is, what my vision. So these books, right? This wisdom, this energy that we get from these books, it doesn't just sustain you, right? It doesn't just help you survive, you know, the survive and thrive. It helps us thrive, okay? So here's my dream. My dream is that we get hundreds, maybe even thousands of people to join in on Patreon. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to have sessions, right? We're going to have sessions following that day's AMX where we just sit and we talk books and we share stories about the stuff we're reading, about adversity, about our own adversities in childhood, about the pain. What pain have you endured? How has it changed you? What have you learned from it? We can talk about history. We can talk about all this stuff. But I need the people. I need the people with whom to talk, because this conversation is as fulfilling as anything you will have ever done. I know, because I've done it, right? I've done it. I competed, I've won, I've lost, and then I've had these conversations with Dredd, AM Extended back in the day, the AMX Fight Club, and now with Patreon. But I can't do it alone, folks. That's where I need you for as little as $1 a month. Patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard. Link is above. I'll see you on the flip side.